We're going to move on to something rather unpredictable here. Have you ever felt a craving for Colgate-branded beef lasagna? Wanted to wear Harley-Davidson-themed perfume? Or perhaps buy some coffee-flavoured Coke? Well, believe it or not, these products actually exist, and their inventors thought there'd be a hit with consumers. But now these and other famous flops are actually being celebrated at Sweden's new Museum of Failure. And I'm pleased to say that joining me from Helsingborg in Sweden is the museum's curator, clinical psychologist, Dr. Samuel West. And here with me in the studio is Tony Markowski, the head of innovation with creative agency Mirum. So I must start with you, Samuel, by saying, well, good luck for the opening of the museum. But isn't it a bit of a bizarre thing to do, to be celebrating failure?
Well, it's not so bizarre when you think about it. We have so much to learn from failure, and it goes neglected if we don't talk about it, don't discuss it seriously.
And tell us about some of I know you've got some products there behind you, but tell us about some of the innovations. You know, their creators thought they'd do really well, like an electric mask. Tell us what that's about.
I've got the electric mask here right behind me. It's the Rejuvenec mask that you strap onto your head, and then it shocks your face for 15 minutes. And it makes you beautiful.
It shocks your face?
The inventors probably thought it was a huge success.
I think we could see how that wasn't going to work, but give me an example of something else that its creators really thought was going to make it big.
Well, you see part of the bicycle here called the Itera plastic bicycle. It was launched in 1982 here in Sweden. It was expected to change the bicycle industry of Sweden. It was a plastic bike that was beautifully designed, but it was unstable, so it wobbled as you biked. It was a huge failure.
OK, we can see why that happened too. Stay with us. I want to ask Tony, who's here. I know you've had a look at some of the products being showcased here.
Absolutely.
Famous for failing. Any favourites?
Yeah, so I think the Colgate, the lasagna we have right there. Yeah, the beef lasagna created by Colgate is a funny example. But again, you know, it should be encouraged, right, Samuel? That you know, failure is a good thing generally to progress and move organisations forward. It
can cost a lot, though. If you think of, say, Betamax versus VHS, you know, which video format is going to win out?
Sure, yeah, and also in terms of cost, you know, if you look at what a typical innovation spend of the top 1,000 largest companies, it's around 682 billion a year. And the interesting thing is, I think only 6% or so of executives see something relevant come out of it. So the question is, what do you do to prevent ending up in Samuel's lovely Museum of Failed Innovations?
And Samuel, so some of these innovations will be small-time creators who just didn't judge the market right, but some of them are really big companies who get it spectacularly wrong.
I mean, as Tony was saying, 80 to 90% of all innovation projects, they fail. However, we don't see these failures. If we don't give them the attention they deserve, we can't learn from them either. So it doesn't matter if it's a big brand name, mega corporation, or it's a small-time inventor in his basement. We're going to fail if we want progress and if we want innovation.
Yeah, and something we see quite a lot of is how many of these organizations are set up to execute. It's not necessarily in their DNA to be innovative and come up with new things. And failure is typically something that's not encouraged. It's punished, and you know, you don't deliver your quarterly numbers and whatnot, and then you're out of the organization basically. But it should maybe some of them are doing a great job actually. There are many companies that are, and T-Mobile and you have Lemonade from New York, for example, who are great examples of trying out new things, doing it the right way as well.
And Samuel, we just want to show a few more examples of some of the products. I think the green sauce, there's a Heinz bottle that we're going to show our viewers. And, you know, this is something that could have worked really well. I think we've got a picture of it somewhere that we can pop up on the screen. It could have worked really well and just wasn't a hit with the consumers. And Coke too as well.
I mean, it's easy to look, hindsight is 20/20, so it's easy to look back at them now and say, hey, they were failures, and even have a laugh at them perhaps. But the important thing to say that these companies, when they launch new products, they know that there's a risk of failure, and they accept the failure in order to innovate. And I think that's the sort of the theme of the museum is we need to accept failure as an essential part of innovation. And more importantly, I think the organizations have to become much better at learning from their failures instead of sweeping them under the carpet and sort of ignoring that they ever, disassociated themselves from their failures.
And Samuel, you are a clinical psychologist. What are you hoping that your visitors gain from, I mean, there's a bit of a smile to be had, isn't there, at some of these failures, but there are very important lessons as well.
You can't help but smile when you see a green ketchup. But I mean, what I hope visitors actually learn when they come here is like, okay, they need to embrace failure. They also need to what I hope that the people that visit that are not in the innovation field, that they will understand. They see these big companies, Google, Apple, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, etc. These huge corporations, they fail when they try something new. And I hope that it liberates the individual to say, hey, if they can fail when they try something new, then so can I.
That's a really important point I know you want to pick up on, Tony.
Yeah, I think it's essential. That is what innovation is about ultimately, not some team or some lab or so, but ultimately everybody in an organization or in society for that matter that helps contribute to solve human problems. And typically people knows that better than maybe the CEO sometimes, I have to say, yeah.
I just want to pick up, show our viewers. I don't know if we've got a picture of, there was a Donald Trump board game. This is one of these products that you might think would go nowhere. Now there it is. This was deemed to be a failure, but Tony, I just want to put it to you that maybe everything has its moment, you know?
I do agree. I do agree. And sometimes it's the thing is innovation. It's everyone is talking about it. That's sort of the solution almost to digitally transform and to better and perform. But there are so many examples of when you don't need to innovate as well. You might as well wait. And it may not make sense, but that's a lovely, lovely, lovely game.
It was just one of those ones that did make me smile. A final thought from you, Samuel. Hi.
It's a horrible game, okay? Sorry to correct you. I tried to play it here the other day. It's impossible to play.
Samuel, just tell us very quickly, what's your favorite exhibit?
I have new favorites every week. I think my favorite right now is the fat-free potato crisps. They are made with Olestra, which are, here, give me that one. It's fat-free, calorie-free chips made from Olestra, and although they don't give you any calories, they give you diarrhea.
That's what we call a product failure. Samuel, Tony, thank you very much. Funny, but also some very important points. Thank you both.
Thank you very much.
And do stay with us here on BBC World News. We have much more to come, including